feeling it? Are you feeling it?
Yeah. I'm feeling it. Hey.
Hey, Kaci.
How's it going, Kalina? Kalina in the house.
Just kidding. Nobody likes that. My name is Kalina Converse.
I liked it. I'm Kaci Carlson.
And we are
Medium
Mixology.
Mixology.
That was beautiful.
That was good. This is in sync.
What are we drinking today, Kate?
So we've got another beautiful sangria.
We kind of combined the last two we had. The first episode, we had champagne. The second episode, we had
Sangria.
sangria.
I love it.
And this episode, we were like, let's splash them together.
We still got to get.
And so we were like, hey, it's already here. Let's just mix it together. Throw some fruits in there.
I love this. Is our summer
Cheers.
drink.
Are you ready for our toast?
I'm so ready. Sip and see.
Spirits and mediums.
Wild and free. Cheers, guys.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
What are you drinking on this hump day? Leave us a comment. We want to know.
Yeah. Tell us like your favorite drink, what you're
Yes.
drinking with us.
We need ideas.
Yes.
Give us like a mixer, a spritzer.
Any bartenders in the house?
Summer.
Yeah.
Something delicious.
We love
that we can
it.
make easy. 'Cause
Or like
I
a
am not-
mocktail, whatever you got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us an herbal tea blend. I don't know. Listen, we're open for anything. You don't have to be drinking sangria. Whatever you got, give her a big sip. And cheers as Kalina chokes on her berry. Okay, here we go. Give her a second. Hold on, I got to do the Heimlich. Just a minute.
Strawberry.
Kalina likes
took
those
it
big blue
all
balls.
down.
It's fine. Some blueberries.
Slip down my throat. Open
Okay.
throat.
Just a wide open. Let it slide down.
I want skills, guys.
More than her psychic abilities, Kalina's got.
I am a one-man show over here.
Okay, so
Man,
cheers.
I got a lot of skills. I don't
I agree.
recommend swallowing that whole.
I wouldn't either. You straight up took it down like a champ.
It was like a whole strawberry
She
in my mouth.
secretly liked it. Okay. Okay, here we go. So
It's hump day. How's
It's
your
hump
week
day.
going? How is your week going, Kaci?
it's going pretty good. You know, I'm riding this hump.
It's
Hump,
up and down and down and up and on top and below.
It is. We're riding that wave. You know, but we're getting
know.
there. This is a bright spot to my week. Right? Don't you feel like I just love being here with you? I love being here with all of
you.
our viewers and our spirits and all the
And our
good vibes
listeners,
here.
Because they never go away, and we love that.
Yeah, we do. We appreciate you guys.
I meant
So-
the spirits never go away.
Well, spirits never go away. We hope you guys never go away.
Ever.
Yeah, we're here for all of it. Okay.
Okay.
So, how are you feeling? What's new?
Okay, so lots of stuff this week.
Yeah. Tell me.
Lots of intuitive messages.
Okay. We love that.
I had a weird things happen in my shower. You know, that
Uh-oh.
happens
Yes.
often.
That is Kalina's weird space.
A weird face. My kids start school this week. We
Yeah.
start early in
Yeah.
August in Arizona. It's
Uh-huh.
like so hot. There's nothing else to do here.
Yeah, it's true. And I feel bad for the kids because they have to stay inside for recess if they're at like school. You know,
Yeah,
they
'cause
really don't
it's
get
190 degrees.
Yeah.
It's like hell.
They're going to get heat strokes.
You're welcome to hell.
Yeah. Yes. So children
Where
stay
we live.
inside. Yeah. Arizona is hot right now. But it's good though. We're feeling good.
I kind of want to know where our listeners are from.
Yeah.
Can we ask
I would love
Like,
that.
can they like write in like I'm
Yeah.
from Texas and it's
Yes.
not hot here.
They're like suckers.
But I actually think Texas is hot too.
I think it is too. And it's humid. Maybe we're feeling more like the beach vibes. California peeps. How you guys doing there?
Yeah.
Surviving the
But
summer.
also we don't mind humid. I teach hot yoga.
Okay. That's true. Yeah.
Hot
Love it.
yoga.
I just barely got a job teaching hot yoga and I'm excited about it. A little nervous, but excited.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
like big growth for you.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my voice, open that throat chakra.
Love it. What do you think is the biggest difference between teaching regular yoga and hot yoga?
Oh my word. For like the little bit that I have started to step into, because I'm still a newbie with the hot yoga, is that you have to really learn how to balance that temp.
How to not
Right?
kill people.
We don't want people passing out. So I'm trying to figure out how to work the heat, the humidity, right?
Yeah,
All of
because
that
it's
balance,
like
it's-
50, 60% humidity.
Yeah.
Like 100 degrees.
Yes.
Maybe 101.
And you have to like maintain that while doing the music.
And it
the
can't
flow.
go too high. Can't
Yeah.
go up to 105 because
Right?
you'll kill them.
Yeah. So it's been a new thing for me. Like I'm a little
I'm so
stressed
proud
about
of
it, but
you.
excited. Thank you. It's been a
Yoga
whole journey here.
teaching is fun.
It is.
It's like giving people a little slice of hope in their day.
Yeah.
I teach the 5:30 a.m. class.
Kalina's a rock star. She's there 5:30, y'all.
I teach 5:30 a.m., but I teach it specifically because there's no traffic to or from because nobody's awake at that time.
Smart.
Except for the people going to yoga.
The crazy
And the people who
heading
show
there.
up for that class are like die hard. I'm here to work out.
Yeah.
So like it's I know my people. It's
They're
the same
in it
group.
to win it.
Yeah. And then I'm like, hey, let's start our day with a positive note. I always start with intention.
Yeah.
And something like love, something light, something like let's add a little bit of positivity in our week, no matter how
that
our
positive
week is going.
affirmation.
Yeah. So I like to start their day
love
with that.
that.
And I love it.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is fun.
I was trying to think of what my chills of the week would be. I'm trying to think
Do you
about
have one?
that. I think I do, but if you have one, you can go first.
I have one.
Yeah, I get it. Let's do it.
Okay, last weekend,
Okay.
I was at the bar.
I feel like I always have to brace myself for yours. Like, hold on, I gotta move the mic, shift my seat.
We're getting in. Okay, I'll drink to that. I was at the bar. Okay, I say this like very lightheartedly. It was my friend's birthday. We went out. Like we went out to celebrate, just us girls. The night started winding down. Live band. It was great. It was just me and her. Well, I noticed the guy next to me was like inching his way closer, and I was like, "Oh, okay,
here we go."
It's fine, no big deal." And I, of course, am reading his energy.
Of course.
And I'm like, "Okay, realtor, 2 kids, divorced, got it." I'm just kind of reading him, right? No,
Yes.
everybody does that, right?
I mean, isn't that normal?
Totally normal.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. He inches closer and closer and closer. And he leans in. He's like, hey. I'm like, hey, how's your night going? You know, not being.
It's like, hey, I don't want to list my house. Move away.
Kind of, yeah. But also, like, I don't want to be like egotistical or assuming. So I'm just like, okay, hey, what's up, dude? Like, I'll be your friend. No big deal, right? And so he's like, so what do you do
What's
for
your
work?
number?
Yeah. He's like, what do you do for work?
Now
I
that's
said-
a loaded question.
I said, well, I'm a yoga teacher. And I might as well have said, I'm a
I
stripper.
can put my legs up to the sky and spread it high.
Really? I think that's what they hear.
Oh, 100%.
And he's like, oh, you teach yoga?
What kind of yoga?
And literally, I'm like, no, honey, I'm the one that teaches people how to teach yoga. I am the master of the
I'm the head.
I am the Kama Sutra. Just kidding. No, so I was like, yeah, I teach yoga. And he was like, oh, so you train the yoga teachers? And I said, yeah, it's a really fun job. Just being friendly, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, well, do you want to know what I do? And I said, let me guess. Are you a realtor?
What did he do? Was he like just like good guess, or like did she see my face on a business card? You know, like how did she know?
He was a little flabbergasted.
Yeah.
He was like, why? Yes,
Naturally.
I am.
Yeah.
And he goes, are you psychic or something?
You're like, okay, you're not stupid. I'll give you that.
This is cute. I can have fun with this. So I said, actually, I am. And he said, what can you tell me about myself? And I said, I can tell you you're recently divorced and you're talking to 2 women right now.
And you're a loser.
The bartender, first of all, her face was great. I was like, well, I can tell you you're divorced and you're talking to 2 women right now. I might as well have said you're a fucking player. And the bartender's face, who was listening, low-key, her eyes got so wide. She like, her lips, like she was like, oh, like pursed. She was like, oh my God. And he was like, I'm sorry, what?
Of course, he got so offended by
He
the
got
truth.
defensive.
Yeah.
And he goes, I have a woman, yes. Which, first of all, if you have a woman, why are you creeping up on me?
Right?
And he goes, yes, I have a girl. I have a girl. Yeah.
He's like, it's 1, not 2, and I'm hitting on you. That makes 2.
like what? Like,
He's so stupid.
I know. So I was like, okay. And he was like, okay, I have one girl. I'm committed to her. And I was like, oh, so the girl on Facebook, or is it Instagram? She doesn't count.
Oh, snap.
And he looked at me like, holy shit. What do you know? How do you know me? How am I caught? Like his eyes got so big, and there was a moment of sheer panic across his face. Mm-hmm. He turned, looked at the bartender, and said, "I'm done. I would like my tab, please." And I said, "You're done? You're gonna go so soon?
You're gonna go see your girlfriend and tell her that you were hitting on me at the bar?"
Yeah.
Which girl? Yeah. That's Kalina. So he just took off. He's like, okay. She either does have this ability and power, or she's crazy.
There was no doubt in his mind that I knew.
Yeah,
I knew. How can you deny the bartender that? Knew. Yeah. We all knew. And his defensiveness at first was like cute. Like, oh, what? What are you talking about? And then when I said the girl on social media, he literally went ghost white and he was like, I gotta get out of here. This girl.
Because he's like, she's going to find out about my other secrets.
Probably. Yeah. I was like, sit a little closer. Let me feel your hand.
Can I hold your hand?
Can I hold your hand? Let me read your heart and your energy. Not that he was a bad guy.
Let me tell you about your childhood traumas. Give me your hand.
Yeah. This is why relationships with me are hard.
Oh, Kalina. But that's amazing.
And just think of how much I don't say.
Yeah. That's a gift right there. You're like, listen, I bite my tongue all the time and don't tell you.
Or a curse.
Yeah, blessing and a curse. Yeah. I'd
agree.
Fine. That's wild. Okay, so speaking of the bar, the restaurant, the dance floor.
Restaurant.
Yeah. And we were just
for lunch with a group of friends.
Yeah. We were some friends. And we went to the bathroom, which that's like the hangout spot for all the girls, right? I mean, like, you know that. If you say, hey, girl, I got to go to the bathroom, it's really like, we got to go chat.
Don't ever go to the bathroom without me.
No. Oh, no. I know.
That's
never.
The place that we like.
It is. That's our connection spot.
Yeah. And we can like spend it on an hour in there.
Oh, for sure.
And like if somebody's sad, I'm going to feel it. I'm going to know what I'm going to make you feel better. And then I'm going to pat you on the back and say, go on out there. You can get them, champ.
Yes. And she did. This woman was washing her hands, just minding her own business. Kalina comes over and she's like, oh, girl, you are too good for him. He doesn't deserve you. Things are going to get better. You are amazing. You are strong. And I looked at my friend and I'm like, what is she doing? Is she like channeling? Is she reading this girl right now? We're like, yep, she sure is. The girl just kind of looked at Kalina like, okay, what? But she was open for it. She appreciated everything relieved. You said. Yeah.
She was like,
like, you see me, you feel me. Thank you. That was kind of her vibe.
I think part of that is like discernment of who you can approach and who you can't.
100%.
Yeah, that comes with time.
Yeah.
But she was like, she was ready.
She was. And it was really, really special. It was one of those moments that I think your gifts and abilities was such an amazing blessing for her, you know? And for you, it's like you were able to give and she was there to receive and she needed to receive that.
She needed to hear that there was better out there and that she was making the right choice. And somebody to come up to you and talk to you and be like, hey, I've never met you in your life, but I know you're struggling and you are on the right path. Yeah. Keep going.
Like that reassurance. Yeah. Yeah, she definitely, she was grateful.
Also, I try not to read people in the bathroom, but
she's like it's a vulnerable space.
The women's bathroom is like a tell-all. Like
it is. And it should be that way, right? Like, ladies, if you don't feel that, like maybe open yourself up a little bit more. Be a little more vulnerable when you go in there, like to connect with women. Seriously.
I've made so many friends in the women's bathroom.
Too. Straight up gotten people's like Instagram. We start talking. She's like, girl, what's your handle? Like, where can I follow you on what social media? Where are you?
Oh my gosh. I had a guy ask me for my social media.
Yeah.
He was like, are you on social? I was like, yeah. Like, isn't everyone?
Yeah.
Like, no big deal. He's like, oh, what is it? I told him at AZ Yoga Academy. I was like, okay. My friend next to me was like, you have no idea what is happening right now.
What does that actually mean?
That he's like hitting on me.
Yes, I know. Like, do you get
I've been married for 100 years. In my head, if somebody hits on you, they ask you for your phone number. They're like, hey, can I have your number?
And nowadays it's so different. Like, what's your social? I'm going to hit you up on social media. And you're like, what? Like, don't you just want to like click a light on the photos of my family photos and like my business?
Like, everywhere you search on me, I'm a married mom of 6 kids. Like,
Yeah.
I had no idea what was happening. And she was just shaking her head. And she was like, dude, what is your problem?
Listen, we're still trying to learn how all this works. Okay, we've been married for a million years with a bunch of kids. We don't know.
No, what? This world is crazy.
Right? It's wild.
Social media is crazy.
It is. It definitely is. So funny.
It's crazy. Okay, do you remember the time we were at a restaurant?
Yeah.
It was during your YTT, yoga teacher training.
Yeah.
We all went, we walked up, we went and sat down at a restaurant, and there were the 2 women that walked up.
Yes, I do remember. I was thinking about this the other day because Kalina and I were talking about everyone's different abilities, their clairs, and what it is. And I feel like mine is the clair empathy. What is it? It's the clair sentient. I can literally feel it.
Empathic. Yeah. Empathic. It's your gut. It's your solar plex. It is energy.
Like I will straight up feel it. Yes, in my gut and even in my heart. Like if their heart is hurting.
Yeah.
So as they're walking by, I'm like, that girl has a father heart wound, and I'm tapping into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Kalina was channeling and reading it in a different way, and she's like, that girl's going through a divorce. And so I thought about it later, and I was like, oh, I'm just hitting it from a different way. Like that's how I was feeling it.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
There are many ways up the mountain.
Right? Yeah. And then Kalina was like, yeah, no, like she's going through a divorce. Something to do with the divorce.
No, she was going through a divorce. And I had told all of you, I was like, we were sitting in a group and you were like, oh, she's got a father heart wound. And I was like, absolutely. And I said, but she's out here with her girlfriend, which we could see.
Yeah.
Because she's going through a divorce and there's complications. They're arguing. There's kids. Yeah. He's not signing the papers. And you were like, oh, okay. Yeah. Everybody's like, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's what we do for fun.
Just chilling, eating our nachos, reading people.
Oh, nachos.
Those are so good. Yeah.
We were walking out to come back to the studio. And as we're walking, we see these 2 women leaning on the wall.
We're giving you a whole visual.
Yeah. They're leaning on the wall.
They're just chilling, visiting.
And this woman says to her friend, I don't understand why he just wouldn't give me the divorce. We've been through this over and over and over again. And for whatever reason, he won't sign the papers.
Yes, that's what it was. I was like, is something with like signing papers or children or something?
Yeah. And you guys all looked at me and your jaws dropped open. And you were
the happy. Like, how did Kalina read that?
And I
felt it, saw it, heard
it. Do you think I just make this shit up? Like,
you're like, I told you guys. Yeah, it is crazy. It's wild. It's fun.
I'll drink to that.
Cheers to that. That was amazing.
Cheers to you guys. Yeah. Did you do your chills of the week?
Let me think. Did I?
I don't think so.
Okay, so let me think for a minute. So this wasn't this week, but I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. So I was living with my cousin. And I walked into the door. There was a basement. And when you walked into that back door, there's stairs and then a landing, right? And so I walked in and I saw a man walk from that landing down to the second level of stairs. So it's stairs, landing, stairs, basement, right? So I see him at the landing. He crosses past the landing. Down the stairs.
A real man?
I was so torn on that. So here's the problem, right? I'm like, is it a spirit? Is it a man? It looked like a real man.
In the house?
Okay, so nobody. It was me, my 2 children, and I was pregnant with my 3rd at the time.
Oh my gosh.
This is years ago. Yeah. And
whose house?
So it's my cousin's. And I'm like, okay, what's happening here? So I've talked about before, I would struggle with trusting what I see and what I feel, right? And I would second guess. And so I'm like, okay, that was a real man. Like that felt so real. So I called my husband and I'm like, hey, there's a man here. Like he was on the landing, walked down the stairs. What do I do? He's like, I don't know. I'm at work. Call the cops. So I'm like, there was a part of me though that kind of knew that it was a spirit. Right? It was spirit in the home.
Oh,
it was so real. Yes. I know you've been there. And I'm like,
I've so been there.
Totally. So I'm like, okay,
I've called the cops for this too.
I love it. We got to hear about that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to call and be on the safe side. Right. I'm not going down to the basement because I'm not sure now.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not walking down there.
Especially with kids, there's a man down there.
Yes, thank you. So I call. The cops get there. I'm waiting outside. They walk in.
Wait, you're waiting outside with your kids?
Yes, with my kids because I was not about to go down there and explore. Yeah. So they get there and I'm like, okay, like I know this sounds crazy because as they're driving, I was like, Case, that was a spirit. I start to overanalyze. I'm thinking, no, girl, you know what it was. But they get there and I'm like, okay, I know this might sound crazy, but I swear there's a man on the landing. I explain it. They go down there, they check everything, clear the room, clear the space, clear the basement. They come back up. They're like, so we saw no one. You're safe. It's okay.
Was there any open doors?
No. So that's the thing. And that's where I should have just been like, Kaci, this is spirit. Like, relax. It's not a real person. Because
did you feel intimidated or scared? Or
I felt scared. And this is before I even could like wrap my brain around what I was seeing. Yeah. And tap into that and be like, you're all right. You are safe. And so I unlocked the door. So yes, everything's locked up. And so they leave and I was like, it's a spirit. But now I look like a crazy person. Right. And so I'm like,
so what did they say?
So they're like, no, there's no one there. And I was like, I'm sorry. I know I seem crazy. They're like, no, better safe than sorry. Like they were great. They were awesome. Yeah. I appreciated it. Yeah. I was thankful. So I bring my babies in and we go down there and I call my husband. I'm like, so there was no one there, but I did see someone. I'm not crazy. It was a spirit. And he's like, okay, yeah, bye. You're fine. And so I'm like, that was.
Wait, does your husband just accept it?
So that was years ago. And back then, no, I swear he's like, it came up many times and he's like, no, there's no one there. Like, you're nuts.
Was he like, you need to get your thyroid checked?
All right. He's like, do we need to do an MRI of your brain? What is happening? Hallucinating.
Oh, yeah. Or like, are you on drugs?
Right. He's like, what are you taking behind my back? Yeah. I think he always just thought I was
those
a little
questions too.
Right? Well, what is happening with our brains? And I think over the years, we've been together 25 years. And so.
Yeah, we have too, like 24.
Yes, right. Yeah. So Kalina and I married high school sweethearts. I think we might have said that in the first episode. And so our husbands know. I mean, hello, by now, they've got to recognize that we're not nuts. I mean.
We're not.
It might seem like it. I mean, maybe a little. Cheers to being maybe a little
but also there's validation in it. Like, how could we know the things we know unless we were channeling?
Yeah,
it's impossible. Literally impossible.
Yeah. For me to be knowing what you're thinking, no one can tell me that. You know what I mean?
For me to be knowing what you're dreaming.
Yes. That's like next level.
I know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
I know. It's wild.
I'm not normal.
But normal's boring, right?
Okay.
So I just want to remind you guys, if you have seen someone in your home and you second guessed, trust your gut. Like, it's not a real person. I mean, maybe, I guess I shouldn't put that out there. What if it really is a real person? But the point of this is.
Right.
Like Kaci told me it wasn't a real person.
Okay, so yeah, the point of it.
Trust your gut.
Yeah.
Your intuition. Tap into it.
But I'm glad you called because what.
Yeah, better.
So do you feel like you know who the spirit was?
I don't know. I feel like you might have a feeling. I feel like there was obviously some attachment to the home. I feel like that goes without saying typically.
Yeah.
There is some type of attachment to the home. The home that I'm in now, we have seen spirits there. And there have been a couple of them that I know they do have a connection to that home or the land.
Yeah. Okay. This is like a great question. Like, do you think things are haunted? Places.
I do. But for some reason, the word haunted brings that scary.
It's
element.
Hollywood.
You know what I mean? Yes. And so there's something about the word haunted that I don't like to tap into that. I don't like to put that as the umbrella over the space. It's haunted.
Okay. So I agree that like haunted is a very Hollywood.
Like ghosts instead, you know?
Like I don't like the term ghost.
Yeah.
I like the term spirit. I do feel like places have impressions or residual energy. So we're about ready to go to Jerome.
Yes.
And we're going to podcast from there.
Yeah.
Jerome is a city in Arizona, and it is a haunted city. Mm-hmm. Lots of spiritual activity. It was a
mining town, right? Yeah.
Mining town that turned ghost town. Mm-hmm. Everybody fled there in the early 1900s.
Yeah. So a lot of history.
Much history. I can't wait to podcast from there. We're going to see what we get.
I'm a little nervous, but excited.
Yeah, it'll be great. So that's in a few weeks for my 40th.
Yes, we're going to party it up for Kalina.
I do feel like, okay, so the place we're staying, Jerome Grand Hotel, is one of the most haunted hotels in America. And it has residual energy because it was a hospital and psychiatric ward. And so do I believe that their spirits are trapped there or stuck there? I personally do not.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I do think that there's residual energy of a spirit there. And the way I like to see spirits or like describe them, I guess, we are souls, spirits on earth having a human experience. And as our human bodies die off, our soul then emerges and continues on. And as it continues, our soul then creates what our visual mind can perceive as a sun ray. So that sun ray may be left at Jerome Grand Hotel.
Yeah.
Or be with your mom or your aunt or yourself, right? And so parts of your family can be with you and with somebody else at the same time because of that residual energy or because of that part of the soul that will always be with you and never leaves your side. Does that make sense?
It's so beautiful. Yeah, it does. I love that. That's the perfect analogy, like visualization of spirit and how they're able to. So say even like my sister on the same day was like, hey, Case, did you feel our brother on this morning? I felt him. And I might have felt him that morning too, but it doesn't mean one is right, one is wrong. We both felt him because like you said, those rays of him, like a sun's rays is able to expand and yes, beyond what we are even able to wrap our human brain around.
And I think what you just said is so key. It's our human brain is not meant to comprehend and to know the gravity of how precious and how large spirit is.
Yeah.
How we are one drop in an entire ocean of energy. Yeah.
It's so vast. It's more than we can physically, mentally comprehend.
Yep.
And it almost can feel like overwhelming. And maybe that's why sometimes tapping into spirit, like you were saying, you have to kind of raise your vibrations and go to that space because it is more than this physical body, physical brain can wrap your head around, you know?
Yeah, I know I mentioned Tyler Henry before, but I love him and he's Hollywood and he's a young kid. He's so adorable. And he's asked his spirit guides. And the way they described it is it's like teaching math to a squirrel. Teaching arithmetic to a squirrel. Their brains just can't understand.
Literally cannot get it.
And I resonate with that because what I know, what I see, what I feel, what I hear, I so struggle with putting into words. When like the first episode that we did, like I met that woman on the side of the road and she was suffering. And it's so difficult to put into words, like your loved ones never leave you. But how do you express that? Because we're so dependent on our sight and we're so attached to our physical bodies.
Yes.
That if you believe that is all you are, then it's almost impossible to feel or hear or see more.
Yeah.
But when you know that there is more, then it all comes like rushing in and you can feel and hear and see and know.
Yeah. I think that's why I've never fully attached to my brother's headstone or my grandparents or any family member because I'm like, why? I don't want to go there. That is not where they are. That is not where they live. I saw my brother in my living room the other day. He is not here in this space in the ground under that headstone.
Wait, pause.
Okay.
You saw your brother in your living room.
In the living room. In my bedroom, in the car. Like there's been so many moments that I have seen him over the years, heard him, felt him, seen him, like every part of him in that space, dreamt about him, like so many different.
He's with you.
Yes. Yeah. That I never felt this pull to go to the cemetery to sit at his headstone. And I had family members and I love that they felt him there. I do believe that, they can come back and visit there. But that's not where he's at. He's like with us all the time. Like you said, the sun's rays expanding. It's so vast.
It's bright.
He's everywhere at once. Yeah. And so
that's beautiful. It's interesting that you bring up the cemetery because I'm going to share something.
Okay. I always feel like I got to get ready. When Kalina says I'm going to share something, I'm like, where's my drink?
I feel like I have to like prepare myself to share.
Love it.
Okay. Because I never know like how vulnerable I want to be. But when I feel it, I feel it. It's got to go.
I understand.
When I was in my 20s, no, I would say even teenage years.
Okay.
When I was teenage years, I had a pull to cemeteries.
Why does that not surprise me?
Anybody else would think that is batshit crazy.
They're like, is she in her goth era?
Like, no, they call it emo.
Yeah. Emo. I'm sorry, it's emo. Excuse me.
Emo era. I have teens. I know this. Yeah. Okay, so no, like I remember going to Salem in Massachusetts, which Kaci and I will also be podcasting from in a couple months.
So excited.
So excited. We're going all over, guys.
We're traveling everywhere. We're taking this on the road.
We are. We're going to podcast everywhere. We're going to explore.
Yeah.
And we're going to podcast along the way.
Yeah.
Some of it might be good. Some of it might be bad. Some of it might be scary.
Might be scary. Might be fun. All the things.
Yeah. All the things. Okay. So I went to Salem when I was a teenager. Immediately I was pulled to the cemetery.
And can you like back? So why were you pulled? Like you felt it in your gut? What was it?
I was 15, I think 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately, so in Salem, they have what's called the Salem Memorial, which is the burying point. And all of the people who were hung were buried.
Oh.
Not all in this area, but a lot of them were.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I didn't want to leave. And I remember it was getting to be dusk and we had to leave and we had to hurry. And I was with my parents and they were like, come on. And even then I was like, no, I want to stay. I want to feel, I want to be in this space. And didn't really think of anything of it then because I didn't know who I was or that I was psychic or medium.
Mm-hmm.
In my 20s, I had family members in the military that traveled. And everywhere they traveled, I would ask them, hey, when I come visit you, can you find the closest cemetery so I can go see it?
Yeah.
That should have told me something.
Definitely.
I would lay on the gravestones.
Stop.
And close my eyes and feel what it would feel like to be that person.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I was like, everyone wrap your brains around.
I don't think I've ever admitted this to anyone. I would literally, so I would tell them, hey, I'm going to go get a Starbucks. I'll be right back. I would drive to the cemetery.
Oh my
I would lay on a grave. I would find the oldest gravestone there.
Okay, Kalina,
I would lay on the grave and I would read the name and it's like I would call them and then I would lay there and I would see their life. I would like feel them. I would see their life. I would feel them. I still didn't know I was a psychic or a medium. Didn't even think about it. Didn't know that was a thing. I just was attracted to it. I was just pulled to go feel the energy of other people.
That is fascinating. So nothing from like what you see, Hollywood movies, all of that, cemeteries, we know what I'm talking about. Nothing from that whole little space made you nervous to go in real life?
Never.
By
it was
yourself.
peaceful. Even now, I'm going to tell you this. This is weird.
Okay.
Yoga teacher training. We're in the space. There's a cemetery a half a mile away.
Yes, that's where my brother's buried at.
That is where my great grandmother is buried.
Oh, and my grandma and grandpa are there.
Grandma Love. In the second episode.
Yeah. Maybe we should take the podcast there someday.
Oh, we absolutely should.
That
I have so many relatives.
I do too. So many.
So on my lunch break, when I'm like, hey guys, I have errands to run, I'll go to the cemetery and I will sit there at my grandmother's graves or at other people's graves, and I will just sit there. Sometimes I'll talk to my grandma, but here's what I love about cemeteries. Mm-hmm. The city is busy. There's a million people all over. There's traffic. There's hustle and bustle and angry drivers and not nice people. And for some reason, people avoid the cemetery.
It's true.
And so it is the only place I can go in the middle of a cemetery where it is quiet and it is peaceful. And I can hear my thoughts and I can hear the thoughts of spirit.
That's so lovely, though. I mean, it is. It
puts all creepy.
I mean, it puts a whole different spin on how we view the cemetery.
I've always loved the cemetery.
That's so fascinating.
I don't think I've ever admitted that to anyone.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's beautiful.
With you and our 3 followers.
I love it. I appreciate that. I think it's amazing. I almost wonder if my view and my feeling on the cemetery would be different if my brother wasn't there. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's the sibling I was closest with. We're like 2 years apart.
To heartache.
Okay, so a cool thing that did happen at the cemetery, there was one time that I went, and I didn't go visit my brother's headstone often. Like I said, I didn't really like going there. I went one time by myself. I was really, really struggling. We had lost multiple family members within like a 5-month period. I was going to funeral to funeral to funeral of family members. And so it was a rough time. And all my other older siblings had moved away. So I was the only kid left at home with my parents.
Do you think losing so many people at once made you more intuitive?
Yeah, I actually do. I think it almost opened up this, like, I don't know what you would call it, this portal, this, I don't know, this space. Yeah, this knowingness that I could tap into that more, like it was easier for me, I guess, in a way. But yeah, I went there one time, and it was a handful of times that I would go. But when I would go, there would be a butterfly that would sit on my brother's headstone. And I noticed that pattern, but there was one time specifically that I went. And one would come and be there for a while, and it would fly away. It didn't matter what time of year. I went one time, and I was having a really hard time, and it was a rough time at home. And I went, and I sat there. This butterfly showed up, and it stayed on my brother's headstone it was almost like an hour. It was the whole time I was there. And I was like, okay, it's not leaving. And at that point, I was like, I called him Bud. I'm like, Bud, I know this is you. And the butterfly stayed, still didn't move. So then I have this tattoo on my wrist, and it's a butterfly. And on one of the wings, I have my brother's initials into the wing. And so whenever I will talk about him, like tomorrow morning, I'll probably see a butterfly out in a bush or something. But when I'll talk about him, I will see a butterfly. And my kids know it too. They're like, Mom, there's a butterfly. And so it's kind of like our thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of different people, I've talked to other people about this and clients with my Reiki clients, that they'll be like, oh, hummingbird, or, a blue jay, or whatever, like a different bird or an animal. Yeah, totally. Or feather. They'll see a feather on the ground. Coins.
Feathers.
Yes. Coins. To see a dime every time they go outside. Yeah.
Songs on the radio.
Mm-hmm. Finding those signs and symbols that your loved ones are trying to still connect with you. I do believe that. I think that is their way.
Absolutely. They completely want to. It's like they want to give you comfort to know. And so they try so hard to reach out any way they can.
Yeah.
And so if they can send you a dime or a feather, and it's not like the dime wasn't there before, it's that they draw your attention to it.
Yes.
It's not that the song wasn't going to play. It's that they draw your attention to, hey, maybe I need to change the channel. And it's so interesting because telepathy is the most fascinating thing, because not only can you tap into other people's thoughts, but spirit can come to you in your own thoughts. If you're just moving about your day and all of a sudden you think about your brother and then you look down, there's a dime, that's not coincidence.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's such a beautiful thing.
It's a way of like, hey, I'm still here. I'm with you. And it's a way of, I think, of bringing comfort and peace. I don't think it's because they're trying to find peace or they're not knowing where they need to be or to go.
That's a great question.
You know? Yeah. I think that it's more, I'm trying to help bring peace while you're still living this earthly experience.
Yeah. Do you think that any of them are not at peace?
I don't. So, but here's the thing I wanted to ask you though. I feel like so what is it though with the ones that I have seen that it is a darker feeling? They vibrate darker.
Yeah.
What is that? Are they looking for peace?
Well, it's not. Okay, here's the way I like to explain it. When someone is here on this earthly realm in a human body, their spirit may transition but they have lessons to learn still. And I know a lot of religions talk about like being put in a judgment space or seeing your life before you, karma, what did you do, what you could have done different. It's a lot like that. And my belief is that when spirit transitions, if they're dealing with suicide, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, a lot of traumatic stuff, when they do transition, it's not as though they can't find peace. What happens is it's almost like whiplash. And I feel like they see their world, they see their life that they just lived, and they have to come to terms with that. But their soul was the same as it is on earth, but now they know. Now they have a knowingness.
They can see like the full picture.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they have to have, it's almost like, oh my gosh, I now know with the veil gone, I now know what I could have done different. I now know what I struggled with. I now know everything. And so I think that for some people is very hard for their spirit, especially if they were into some really dark things.
So they're still vibrating lower. Maybe
even when they transition, and they do know, they do feel, but like people who abuse other people or people who commit homicides, people who commit a lot of crimes, like, or have those drug and alcohol addictions, when they leave, it's almost like a shock to their system, their soul, because nobody comes to this earth in thinking, I'm going to be a horrible person. Nobody comes here and says, I'm going to be an alcoholic or a drug addict. It's like our life circumstances, sometimes we have a hard time dealing with it. And so we turn to those addictions, or we turn to those things that help us cope in this human form. And then when we leave our spirit or our soul, we have so much work to do to be able to see, like, we see everything, but now we're like, oh shit, I just, like, it hurts. It hurts their soul. It hurts their heart. And while we say there is no pain and suffering on the other side, nothing they do can cause any more pain or suffering to themselves or to others. But that doesn't mean that they can't look back and say, oh, I did that wrong. And now I have to go back and make amends, meaning I have to, like,
ask for forgiveness and repair the damage.
Yeah. Like, a lot of times people will come back to give messages. Like, I've given a lot of messages to people who are like, hey, I know this person harmed you, or your mother was not nice to you and was not the mother that she needed to be, but she didn't have that ability in her because her mother was not, right? Like
all that generational trauma.
Yes. And so, like, it's really hard, but I do feel like sometimes spirits are accepting of that, and they're like, okay, I need to make amends. And I feel like sometimes that's a little bit of whiplash, a little bit of a shock. And they're like, wait, I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know what. And so I think that I don't know how or when or what is the denser energy that people feel. Like, that there's still that residual energy of.
And I kind of feel like they might be looking for someone that's still on this earth, someone that can maybe help them process that in a way. And so maybe with where I'm at, with my abilities or gifts, whatever you want to call them, I might translate that as darker, denser, like scarier for me, how I see it.
If I am tapping into somebody that had a lot of trauma, I might see their suffering, but I'm not necessarily going to attach to it in a way that resonates with me. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so you might see it and feel it and know it, but that doesn't mean you have to attach to it.
Yeah. I think that's a hard part, like that whole empath that I just absorb it like a sponge, and I'm trying really hard not to, because I know
it's not yours.
No. And I'm trying, it's not doing anyone any good. Me attaching to it is not helping them. It's a disservice for me.
You are not God, and neither am I.
Yeah.
I cannot heal anyone. Only they can do that.
Yeah.
I cannot help anybody transition. Only they can choose that. I cannot guide anyone to the light. Only they can choose that.
Yeah.
I am a farmer. I plant seeds. I give you ideas. It is up to you to help them grow.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
I love that.
You have to water it. You have to give it sunshine.
That's a good analogy.
So how do you protect yourself? We said we were going to talk about protecting our energy.
I think for everyone that might look different. For me, I'm working on like a set affirmation. Some might call it like a prayer, a positive thought, whatever you want to call it. And it could be something like, I am only allowing in my space those that want to welcome in my highest good or vibrate at, I would say maybe the frequency of Jesus Christ, or those that operate from a space of love and light. However you want to word that, something along those lines, like that little thought or affirmation you come back to. And then like visualizing that protective light around you. People's might look different. Mine is like this white ball of light coming from the crown of my head, working through every chakra, every energy center, through my body, down through my feet,
Yeah.
And then, just visualizing that is my safe space. I see this light wrapping around me and being protected. It's hard though. So if you guys have been trying this and maybe you've talked to someone or if you read about ways to do it, it can feel really overwhelming and can seem like, oh, am I actually doing it right? I don't know that there's a right or a wrong. I think it's what resonates for you. What feels good for you. Mine is going to look different than everyone else's,
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah. For those that don't feel that it's God or Jesus Christ, it's universe, it's source, it's spirit.
I feel like the religious talk really hits home for some people because they might have abilities that they're not quite ready to step into because they think it's blasphemous.
Yeah. Yes.
It's antichrist. It's anti-religious, anti-Catholic, whatever your religion is.
Yeah.
And what I would say to that is there are many scriptures in the Bible that talk about gifts that God gives. The gifts of tongues, the gifts of sight, the gifts
of prophecy.
Yeah, there's tons
there are.
of scriptures that talk about it. And what I would say to those people is to dive into it for your own personal knowledge and testimony and see if it fits for you. And if it does, and you feel it in your soul, then lean into it. And if it doesn't feel right, then lean out of it.
Yeah.
And that is really the best advice. I went on my own journey on this. I am also very Christian. And I like to say that my religion is love. I believe God is love. Universal source is love.
Yeah.
I feel like we as humans get so caught up in this everyday life that it is hard to see past ourselves. We become very selfish, very self-absorbed. And what I think that does is makes people judgmental.
I agree. And they're leading with ego or versus I'm right, you're wrong. There is no right and wrong. This is how I feel. That's how you
But
feel.
I also think that that's part of a gift of being psychic. We talked last podcast episode 2 about like some of the hardships of being psychic. But one of the gifts of being psychic is that you truly see people's hearts. Being empathic, you feel when somebody treats you wrong, it's not actually about you. It's actually about them. So it's a little bit easier to forgive. It's a little bit easier to know where they're coming from and to walk in their shoes. And I feel like as Christians or religious people, judgment is so harsh. And so as long as you are leading with love in a place of love, I feel like that's where it's at. I feel like that's where my heart is.
Power is at. It's all coming from love. I feel like there's no stronger power in the world than love. Like it should all come back to love.
Yeah. And so if you're surrounding yourself with that love energy, there's no better way to protect yourself. It doesn't matter what you believe as long as you are surrounding yourself with love.
Yeah.
But that being said, there are also tips and tricks. Some of those are pretty easy. First and foremost, any grounding scents, smells, or objects, meaning rosemary, sage, candlewood, Palo Santo. Yeah. Any of those grounding smells will kind of reground you to this earth and keep you not floating so high into the spiritual realm or the psychic realm. Yeah. So essential oils are great. Any grounding stones. I always, never failing, wear black stones.
Me too. Always on my wrists.
Onyx.
Around my neck.
Obsidian. Yep, me too. Onyx, obsidian.
I also like tiger's eye.
Yeah.
That's more of a brown stone, but I feel like it's very protective.
Yeah, very earthing, grounding. Any of those black stones will protect you. I wear them everywhere. You can carry them in your pocket, sleep with them under your pillow if you're scared at night. Sage is like a bundle of it. You can buy it at any new age type store. You burn it. It helps clear space. So I've cleared a lot of veterinarians' offices, people's homes that they thought had spirits there that weren't welcome or that frightened them. Yeah. And so I would sage them.
Yeah, you can get some dry sage. There's also essential oil sage. You can turn it into a spray and spray your room.
Yeah, my husband doesn't like the smell of sage because he feels like it smells like burning hay. Oh, and I need to sage a lot at my house. And so I'm always like spritzing.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Another way to ground is like Kaci said, imagine white light coming in. White, pink, black light. All protecting. Imagine yourself encompassed in that bubble. Nobody can harm you. Nobody can hurt you.
Yeah.
Any high vibrational thing like dancing, playing beautiful music, right?
Yeah.
Uplifting,
music,
soulful.
Those high frequency beats.
Yeah. Anything like that can clear energy. If I feel like somebody has energy that is kind of dragging me down, or I like walk past them, I'm like, oh, that's heavy energy. I'll touch something. It could be like wood. It could be the wall. It could be the earth.
Sometimes I like to touch like a plant. If my plants are nearby, even just hold the leaf. Yeah.
Or even going outside, hugging a tree.
Yes. Getting your feet in the dirt, in the ground.
In grass. All of that is very grounding, very earthing. It kind of removes you from the psychic medium realm and puts you back into the earth realm. Yeah. It regrounds your energy.
Yeah. I kind of like
stabilizes.
You can put one hand, having your feet in the ground. You could put one hand down in the ground. You could even take your other hand up towards the sun, the sky for receiving. So grounding and receiving, bringing in that good light while still grounding.
The sun is a great one. I think it's so underused.
Yeah, I agree.
The sun and the moon. I like to lay out in the sun.
Yeah.
Naked.
Love that. Always naked.
Ass up.
And she's also feet up, ass up. So, yeah. She's also getting that good vitamin D. Yes, right there
in the badge.
Love it.
We're all serious until we bring in the badge.
I know.
So
there's so many ways.
Yeah, there are so many ways.
Find what works for you.
Praying.
Yes, praying, meditating,
breath work.
Yeah,
breath work. Just focusing on your breath. What you don't want to do is feed it with fear, anxiety, anticipation, regret, guilt, shame, lowest vibrational frequencies, ruminating about things. If somebody comes to you and you're like, should have done this or should have done that, or I'm so sorry. Yeah. Shoulds, woulds, coulds. They're not your friend.
They aren't. Also, I think humming, chanting,
music,
all of that, music, opening up that throat chakra. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, chanting, singing, humming.
I feel you kind of have to play around and see what feels good for you. You notice a shift where you feel better, you feel safer, more grounded.
Yeah.
And kind of tap into that. And each day, each week, honestly, it might change. Something resonates on a different level.
So what if we have a friend that comes to us and says, Kaci, I need help. There's something in my closet and I know you said to ground, but I'm just not feeling it and I don't know what to do.
I think the first thing I would do is I would grab my sage. So for me, that's my thing. I would light my sage. I would go in, I do a little Reiki, and then I would just take a minute to just feel it, like tap in, because I'm trying to do better at that, to be like, is it really something that feels off, that's negative, that's dark? Or is it something that isn't, but we're just not familiar with it? It's the unknown.
It's so beautiful.
And so it makes us a little nervous, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. It's just different. We're not used to it.
On the head.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do better. Just like take a minute, pause.
It's foreign, but that doesn't mean it's scary.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know. I think that would be my go-to. And then decide from it. Like I've done that for my daughter's room. I've had friends where I'll go in and I'm like, okay, just give me a minute. And I kind of close my eyes. I might say a prayer. I make sure I'm feeling really grounded. I'm barefoot almost always. So my feet are touching the ground.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, right now. And barefoot. Yeah. And then just see what comes up from there.
So do you know who Alison Dubois is?
Sounds so familiar. She's psychic.
She is psychic medium.
Yeah. Okay.
Her kids are very psychic medium as well.
Okay.
She did the show Medium. Do you know that show?
Okay. No.
Okay. So there's a show. Yeah. It's like a Hollywood TV show. And it's based off of her.
Okay.
When I was in college many moons ago, I was in a death and dying class. It's a psychology class because that's what my degrees are in, right? Yeah. Psychology. And it's the best class. I highly recommend ever. But even then, I should have known. Like if I signed up for a death and dying class,
and you loved it.
And Alison Dubois, a psychic medium, came in. Like I should have known. But
yeah.
I was in denial. I guess that was my denial stage. That's what we're gonna call that.
Yeah.
She came in and she said at the end of the night, she gets so many messages and so many thoughts and people coming into her. She's helped police departments and tons of people. And at the end of the night, spirit would still talk to her. And so she would imagine that there was a chest, like a hope chest, like a sacred place at the end of her bed. And she would say, any thoughts or feelings or energies or people that need to communicate with me, stay in the chest. And in the morning when I wake up, I'll open it and we can talk. And I always remembered that. And I loved that. And her show is so cool. And she's written several books, very fascinating woman. And I kind of took that a step farther and I was like, okay, but what about during the day when I'm not at home and I have thoughts or people or things? And I imagine that I'm wearing a locket. And whenever somebody comes in and I'm not ready to talk to them, I'm like in the middle of a conversation with a person and spirit comes in over here and I'm like, wait, what? I imagine those thoughts, those feelings, those images. I just put them in the locket and I will open the locket when I am prepared and when I am ready. And it's like my safe place. So I can open the locket when I'm sitting meditating in the morning, when I'm having my coffee, or I can open the hope chest at the end of the bed when I'm sitting meditating ready. But having those boundaries, knowing, hey, I am not in this all the time. I have business hours with spirit, just like I have business hours with humans.
Yeah, because you're living this earthly experience. You still have to communicate with humans.
And it is very distracting. It is very distracting. We have many stories of like being at a grocery store or walking through like my kid's soccer game or whatever. And I'm like, spirit is here. And I'm like, shit. I can't deal right now. Like I'm cheering on my kid. Like, so you have to have boundaries and it's okay. And I think a lot of people are afraid that if they put up this protection, if they put up this wall, that spirit will go away and they'll never come back. And I'm here to tell you, spirit will always be there. There is not a shortage of spirit. They will always be ready to communicate whenever you are open and ready.
Yeah.
And so
you can always access that again. It's there.
Yes. So if you are open and ready, then great. And if you're not, if you're sitting in the bathtub or at home or trying to sleep or at your kid's soccer game, you can say, not right now, come back later. And that's okay. That's called boundaries. They are good. Yeah. It took me a long time to learn that.
I am still working on that.
Yeah, because you're scared and you're
it's hard. And to know if you're doing it, I guess the word's not necessarily right, but for me, like, am I doing this correct enough for them to understand what I'm saying?
And they are on the other side. Like, can you hear me? Did you get that?
But like, wait, is she understanding?
They just want to talk. They want to communicate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're gonna come back again. They want to. They'll be back again tomorrow.
Yeah, they're just as eager as we are to talk to them.
Yes.
Do we have a question of the week? A short one?
Let's see. Okay. Oh, a really quick one.
Okay.
Do we have time?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of our listeners asked, when you are in an alerted state, alcohol or other influences, is it easier or harder to connect to the other side? This is a good one for us.
This is so good. So does alcohol influence our ability?
Yeah. Does it change it in any way?
Case.
Okay. So for me, I feel like, yes, it does. I almost have to put forth a little more energy. I mean, even it's not like we're drinking a ton, even just like 2 drinks, right? I'm going to have to focus a little bit harder for me personally to be able to tap in. But you know what I have noticed though? When we do these games for like our intuition recognition, right? Kind of tapping into that, I'm not second guessing as much. So then maybe that's more just like my inhibitions coming down, like trusting myself a little more. So I guess for me, it would be, I guess you would say like the psychic part of it. If you want to categorize it, it actually helps me. If I have a couple drinks, maybe. But as far as like tapping into spirit, the medium portion, I do better without anything.
Have you ever tried to tap into spirit on alcohol?
But I don't know that I actually have tried to tap in. You know what I mean? So I guess I can't really say.
Yeah, it's such a good question.
Mm-hmm. How about you? How do you feel?
Okay. If I'm being honest.
We love honesty.
I really feel that alcohol brings down my prefrontal cortex, my logic and reasoning. Mm-hmm. And so I am more able to channel. I don't doubt myself. I don't rethink or reprocess or let it run through my filter before saying it.
Yeah.
And the more you say what's on your mind, the more that comes in, right? So it's like a cup. If you fill your cup with psychic and intuition and you let it out, it refills faster. So if I were to channel right now with you, if I were to do psychic readings with you, the more I said, the more I just like word vomited, the more it would refill and the more accurate it would be. But if I were to not be so free-spirited, if I were to be more in my mind and in my body, then it would be a lot harder. That being said, my shaman, whose name is Alan Wah, he is amazing. He has helped me so much. He told me that they call it spirits for a reason. Because spirits, alcohol, they let spirits in. They're holes in your vibrational system that other things can get in. So if you don't know how to protect, if you don't know how to help yourself in keeping positive energy and you're just drinking, you are way more likely to get dense negative energies in.
Yeah. And maybe that might be like my fear too, that could they attach because I am more open and I'm not channeling that and tapping into only like what we know to protect.
Love.
I don't know. We're going to have to look at that because I haven't tried to tap into spirit and go into that next.
I mean, nobody wants a drunken medium, right? Like,
well, no, right? But like even just like
drunken
2 drinks.
Giving medium messages, and it has not come out good. We can talk about that on the next episode.
For another episode.
Oh my gosh, I've done some wild and crazy things.
But it's funny.
Medium gone wild.
I love that. Medium. Hashtag like medium gone wild.
My other name.
Yeah. We're going to have to look at that a little more and see though, because I haven't really tapped into it very much.
I think anytime you're doing any type of drug or alcohol, and I try to stay away from drugs, right? I don't, it's like when you have clairvoyance or any type of intuition or empathic abilities, anytime you're psychic or medium, it's like a sixth sense.
Yeah.
It's like you walk around every day knowing that you have sight and hearing, and you rely on those senses to make it through the world. But we have extra intuition and extra senses. And so taking away that is like what drugs do to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so like if I do any sort of drug, it's like it almost brings it down instead of up.
Yeah.
But alcohol, 1 or 2 drinks, I'm fine.
Yeah.
It just brings my my cognitive functioning down.
And it takes away that fear of like, I guess I don't know how to say it, but I would say being wrong. Yeah. I'm trusting my ability, my spirit more in a way.
So for our listeners, I would say that you're going to have to play with that on your own. If you're having a drink or two, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
If you're only connecting to spirit through psychedelics or through any other drug or alcohol or anything like that, I would say that would be a extreme method of doing it.
And be so careful.
Yeah, I can't encourage that because I feel like you can get it other ways.
Yes.
And so while we like to have a drink and it's fun, it's not a source that we rely on to connect.
Yeah. No, we don't need it. We don't have to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding
like that good balance.
That's a fair question.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good question.
Yeah. All right, Case.
Okay.
Episode 3, we're signing off. Next episode, let's talk about the clairs.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great
4 major, 4 minor. We'll jump into them.
We'll dive deeper into those.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm Kalina.
I'm Kaci.
This is
Medium Mixology.
Have a wonderful rest of your hump day, night.
Day or night, either one.